whether you admit it or not, we all want to achieve some form of greatness or success in our lives. And we really determine and define what that success means. And I've really been cracking my brain in terms of what does that look like? Like, what is the answer to our issues and problems? You know, there have been things that we've been doing for years and yet we don't get the results that we so deserve. Now, of course, consistency and patience are obvious things that we need, but what is it that we have to have ingrained in our mind? Well, I believe Robert Greene, bore the answer in his great book, Mastery. And for those of you who know, I own a company called Mastery. And I really love the idea around how does one better manage, at least, or master their lives? Now, can mastery truly exist? Depends how you look at it. But relative to the average person, of course. And there are certain things that exist in order for one to be a masterful person or a person who has mastery. Now, again, I'm going to be referencing some stuff from Robert Greene, but also adding some stuff if it comes to me as well. So Robert Greene studied many different people within history and current day and realized 3 core themes in terms of mastery. So the first thing he talks about is something known as primal curiosity. Okay. Now this idea of curiosity is big because it enables one to basically go beyond the norm and try to investigate, understand, and discover the truth behind something because it comes from a core sense of themselves. Now, there's this idea that, we have this mindset when we're young. We ask these questions. We're like, Mummy, why? Daddy, why? All this kind of stuff here. And really that gets beaten out of us as we age. Okay, because we become mature and we're adulting and all these different things there. But having that childlike state, remaining in that space is important for discovering new things that people are not willing to discover. It's doing things that is beyond the norm because in order for you to be great, in order for you to be a success in whatever field or whatever you're trying to pursue, you have to be abnormal. You have to be a bit strange. You have to be a bit weird. Okay? Because you're going to do things where people are like, oh, forget that. I'm not about that. I'm not trying to do that. I ain't got time for that. Okay? But you've got time for it. So think about the things you've got time for. Think about the things that authentically aligns to you. This may sort of connect with things that have happened in your past. You may have a deeper reason for meaning because things have happened that has enabled you to ask these questions. So focus on things, should I say, that really excites you, that really ignites you. I'm not just talking about passion. I'm talking about things that you're willing to do in terms of approach. Maybe you're very analytical. Maybe you're very organized and there are certain things that you would organize that most people wouldn't do. Maybe you want to extract a piece of information and diagnose it and simplify it in such a way where more people can understand it. Maybe you want to be the one person that understands this thing inside out. Maybe you're getting inspiration from other people, which leads me on to the second point that Robert Greene talks about is this whole idea of learning, okay? Being an apprentice, so to speak. Being in a state of observance and understanding that, okay, there's a certain level of humility that you need to adopt in order for you to really absorb information. Okay, you hear about Malcolm Gladwell reference the 10,000 hours, which is roughly about 7 years on average for most people to really get into the nitty gritty of understanding how something works, how something is functioned, how something operates. And so for you, maybe it's a case of, being in a space where there are mentors or trainers or coaches or people within your industry who you can learn from, who you can really learn from. You don't even need to be there with them anymore. Like you can be in a space where you're listening to stuff via audio or watching things on YouTube or reading books to really download the information. But it's not just about taking in knowledge. It's about being a practitioner as well. It's about practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing until it becomes part of your being. This is where, positive psychologists have talked about this idea of flow. I think they talk about competence and challenge, okay, or skills and challenge. And so if you match it in the right way, you get to a certain level of flow where things you become unconscious to the thing, but you're embodied in that experience where it's taking over. Okay, this is where mastery comes into play. And so think about how you can be better at learning and discovering and observing how you can be a master. Okay. It's not about necessarily being a master, but it's doing the things every single day that is required of you to be really competent, like where it's undeniable. So the third thing we want to move into is this idea of creating your own lane, okay? Or creating your own space or niche. So how can you gather all this information? How can you gather the curiosity? How can you gather this learning, observances and practice and diligence and stuff and put it into a space or a place that uniquely represents you as an individual, okay? That makes you stand out. If there are people within your industry, as an example, that are doing great things, you're not trying to be them. You're trying to be you. There's going to be no other Michael Tabradi. There isn't. There's going to be no other type of person you are. And so if you're looking to make a mark in that way or not, it doesn't really have to be from that angle. It's more about understanding that you are unique as an individual and you have the right to allow the world, whether your world is small or not, to see that colorful beauty that exists within you. And so those are the three different things. Having that primal curiosity that is your birthright, having that space of learning and being that humble apprentice and practicing daily. And number three, putting it all together in order for you to be the practitioner and therefore master that enables you to really create some amazing results, not just for yourself, but hopefully for others as well. So hopefully this has given you some insight. Hopefully this has given you a chance to see how you can actually develop these skills of mastery, or these elements of mastery, should I say, in order to truly take the reins on whatever it is you're trying to achieve. If you want a dive or some sort of insight into how you become a high-performing individual and master different areas of your life, then click on the link below in order to explore this in more detail in my free webinar. If you like videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.